So guys in the chat, I'm gonna put on my YouTube voice and I'm gonna start recording and then we're gonna just go through the games and then we're gonna do predictions at the end. This is my YouTube voice. Hello ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be breaking down the best of fives that we played today. There's 2 of them, so strap in for a very, very long episode. It's review time. I did the predictions that T1 is going to smoke GENG, and then I did the prediction that G2 is going to barbecue roast Mad Lions. My predictions, snipe, 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 poo, 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 everything went well. So far, if this is your first breakdown that you're ever watching, let me tell you something. I have been very accurate so far. And, they say stay humble, but sometimes you need to put in an ad for yourself out there if I do have your attention. GENG vs T1, game number 1. GENG started off with Lucian, Nautilus, Lulu ban. Lucian, I think that Lucian Nami teams that play against Aphelios and Jinx can do a lot of serious damage, and I think that T1's best performing aspect has been their bot lane. Their bot lane has been insanely sharp, so the Lucian ban makes sense. Nautilus, something that they showed the last time, and I think it's never something that, of course, Chovy wants to play. Lulu is something that they picked on 3 into bans, and I think this also shows that the opposition here, GENG, don't feel comfortable in blind picking Lulu themselves into Keria, because Keria is going to slam Blitzcrank, right? T1 do Vi Maokai to target the jungle pool, and then finally K'Sante, because K'Sante enables a lot of the AP junglers, and K'Sante is something that GENG do like to flex and is generally speaking considered quite OP right now. Ari is first picked, and then the follow-up here from T1 is Sion Jinx. This is a very important combination because Jinx is very, very good at pushing the level 1 waves, and why that's important we will see later. This gets matched with Aphelios Wukong, and then Annie gets picked on 3 here. They're ready to drop bot. They can maybe pick Poppy. They have Nocturne played. Maybe they'll play Viego. They just need something that can dive bot. And considering the strat that they pull off in this game, Poppy did indeed look quite good. You could also play Lee Sin in these spots, right, together with Annie. But Poppy is so damn good at diving bot. Nidalee gets banned, which is kind of weird. I don't know why they banned Nidalee here. And then Thresh is also kicked out, and then Malphite Gragas to remove some of the champions that Doran has played. We have Gwen, and then Rakan, and then Tahm Kench. Here they wanted to invite maybe Doran to play carry and just to see a different side to him. Okay, looking at the game number 1, we had a very interesting adaptation here from Doran. Now I'm spoiling a little bit, let's go a little bit further back. A very interesting adaptation here. We see that Poppy and Sion, they're going to parade themselves in here. A very important detail if you're looking to do this strat is that you run into this pixel bush and you make sure to spot if the enemy wards. Basically here you're in this area, you know that if you stand here the entire time, you know that the enemy doesn't ward. And this is a very crucial detail. They do come in here with a sweeper, and what happens is that Chovy does indeed spot the catfish. T1 now re-enter. They managed to kill this one ward. It's gone, and now, of course, GENG are aware that this strat is coming. This is the second time that they did this strat, and Sion, of course, is, the champion that you do this strat with. I think maybe you could pull it off with others, but Sion having this reset mechanic is, of course, like the passive is such a big deal, on the dive. So he wants to kind of suicide, and then his passive is just insane amounts of damage. So you need to, of course, leverage that. So we played it. Here, the key detail here of Doran, the adaptation here from GENG, because he knew the strat is coming, is that Doran was actually in bot lane. He goes into the tri-bush here, he's completely chilling, and then they look for the all-in here. Usually, these two will feel comfortable in an all-in fight, and that's why they're crossing through tri-bush. But in this particular spot, Doran is actually a part of this. They find the W, and Gumayusi needs to flash over the wall, and this is a Cull start Jinx, which of course then puts them in a position where they can contest the wave bot first. The issue here, though, and the mistake, is the fact that Doran takes XP from bot, right? Currently, Sion and of course the Gwen, they have the same, you know, like same conditions. They did lose the same top, lose everything the same top. Doran just needs to make sure that he doesn't take XP. And I think if anything, he should look to maybe like keep zoning these guys and just play on distance. If Pays and Delight get to hit this wave and Doran just stays in this pocket, I think if Doran could have exited here through try, it would have been a lot better. Here Doran shares XP, and you can see that Doran has, if you look at the top here on Gwen's HP, he did take XP, so it matters. And I think in this moment as well, they need to contest the wave. I think that Aphelios and Rakan just need to hit the wave for level 3 and would have been a lot better. Doran is trying to buy some time by pulling the golems and making them reset, but it doesn't make that much of a difference. I think here, GENG, I think they should just try to hit the wave, and I think that Doran should fight the Scion. Like, he should be hitting the Scion. But instead, they don't get to contest, and what comes just because they don't contest is so much worse. I think they could have potted up and they could have traded HP and just looked to actually hit the wave and maybe contest for level 2. This would have been, you know, a better scenario than what is coming up. And now, of course, Poppy is the dream scenario here for Poppy. You know, she can look to just ease someone into the turret and have a good time. Rakan W'd, and here, very strange from Pays. Like, they could have maybe turned this into a 1-for-1, but maybe T1 could get the redive, but the wave was dying. I don't know why Pays went melee on the Scion. It was very strange. So now already you have this composition on red side that is designed to just protect the Jinx and try to create a scenario where she's just ahead in the game. And as long as these two are ahead, like the Jinx is ahead, then everything is gorgeous and everything is beautiful. GENG's top side is quite strong, but I felt like this is like Doran being on Gwen is kind of uncharacteristic, you know? Something that you can also do against a Scion strat, and I'm waiting for someone to do it, is just keep your jungle in fog and do the golems. And then if the enemy doesn't get level 3 with their jungler, they actually can't dive and you're already in position. Because most teams that are doing this actually don't ward the golems. And I would like to see a scenario where, like, let's say Wukong does the golems, then Scion is level 1 and Poppy is level 2, and then the golems are finished, you smite them, you kill them, and then you're there to defend and your top laner is benefiting a lot top. Here though, the other flip side, right, is the Wukong had enough space to clear the enemy top side, he didn't base to defend, and Scion didn't lose so much as he could have in maybe a different situation. We continue. Pays flashes the Tamkin's W. They're very, you know, they're very underleveled. It's like the wave is just completely even, and they are still underleveled. And this comes from the dive, right, and the 2 deaths that they had, which allows, of course, Jinx and Tam to completely, you know, thin out the wave. And after the wave bounces, Jinx and Tam get their base in, right? And, you know, the key detail here is the fact that they are so strong that they can basically manipulate the wave position. The enemy is pushing into them, and although we didn't see it on camera, Jinx and Tam can choose where the wave is. They can thin it out, they can hard push, they can do a lot of good stuff, you know? Beautiful indeed. Now we're going to fast forward a little bit. I think that GENG did a crucial mistake here on the Herald. Because they chose to fight in such a strange manner. Before this, they tried to kill Faker with the Ahri ultimate, which also meant here that they're walking into the situation without the Ahri ultimate. Doran tried to do something very cheeky here, but his cheekiness was quickly punished by Owner. Doran also used his W, right? So there's no Ahri ult, and there's no Doran W, right? I don't know why he used W the way he did. But already here, if we pause this frame, there's very little chances for GENG to actually win this fight. And they should feel, you know, quite ashamed. No W, Poppy ult out, and a disaster altogether. This was quite terrible. Quite terrible here from Doran. He did something so greedy. If he gets it, you know, sure, maybe you could argue that it's genius, but it just turned into a shit show. And before they tried to kill Annie. This game, the rest of it was kind of a slow grind. We have a lot of games to cover, so I don't want to get stuck too hard. I think that the key thing is just that the conditions of Gumiushi were so strong, and the itemization of Gwen could have been a little bit better. You know, you look at maybe Drake 3, maybe we can take a look at the Drake 3 scenario, because this could be a little bit of an educational moment, right? The Drake 3 is spawning in 2 minutes, so we just fast forward a little bit. Yes, Drake 3 is coming. It's like on paper, blue side composition will have a very hard time fighting. But you have to think about your odds in the game. If you're going to delay this game further, then Jinx is going to just hit bigger items, scale exponentially. Maybe this is just the best odds you're going to find in the game. So you're looking for a steal just to delay the game to the point where maybe Gwen can catch up in items, right? To get the steal, and it definitely delays the game. T1's very lucky with their soul spawns. I think Mountain Drake, of course, is fantastic for them. Not the same as GENG, because the one game they were ahead, they actually got the Chemtech soul spawn. Yeah, it was kind of an interesting buy from Jinx. She went for Storm Razor. And it wasn't the greatest, in my opinion. I know there's Jinx players that buy it, but I feel like BT, you know, we talked about this on stream. I understood it because he went Storm Razor, because he wanted to buy a Cloak of Agility, and the slow can sometimes be very strong, right? But I think in terms of stat allocation and, you know, how much life steal is actually going to give you, I think that you know, things could have been a little bit better. But okay. I'll just show the game-winning fight and the ending of this game. T1, all they need to do is, as long as they hold off and they make sure to disengage, Genji's disengage with the Poppy and the Tahm Kench, there's very little for Genji to actually do at this point in the game. Okay. Peanut tried to go for a steal, soul point. I think we can move on to the next game. So the adaptation after this one, Genji now swapped it up and first picked Jinx, which, as you remember from before, it actually puts T1 in a position where they can't do the level 1 strat, because Jinx can contest the wave a lot easier. T1 decided to go for Sion and Annie, and Ahri still being open, and this time they didn't want to drop, of course, the champions of Doran, and they just slammed Gragas. Viego is something that scared me, because the last time we saw Viego play, like Peanut play Viego, it was the World Championship last year, if I remember correctly, and I don't know if he played like a game in between, probably not, but it was kind of disturbingly bad. And he did a lot of mechanical misplays in a lot of the fights that occurred, so definitely the Vi Maokai bans put a lot of pressure on our boy Peanut. Felix gets picked on 3 naturally because you want to pick it into Jinx, and T1 didn't want to create a situation where maybe Chovy steals away the Annie, which is very unlikely, but who knows. Chovy has had a lot of Annie bans against him, so maybe it's something that they know from scrims and so forth, right? And they ban Ahri, Lissandra, and Aurelia Sol gets picked, and then Tahm Kench as well. Here, Nocturne might not be like the greatest in the sense that the enemy is going to pick Tahm, but if the enemy picks Tahm, you have so many answers on 5 that can be game breaking. And I have to say, Kriya's Blitzcrank was phenomenal. Amazing Blitzcrank performance. He was completely smurfing. So the Nocturne gets picked, either the enemy picks Tahm, or they don't and Nocturne gets value. So if they pick Tahm and then Nocturne has less value, but the ult is still strong, right? It's like you fucking your fucking field of vision becomes so small. They invite the Tahm Kench counter against the Nocturne to defend the Jinx and potentially the Aurelion Sol, but then Blitzcrank gets the counter for Blitz, and all is good. So once again, you know, I really like the Blitzcrank here on 5. Really big. And especially when you have Aphelios, I think Aphelios on red with the counter support is generally speaking quite strong. Very strong. We jump into game number 2. We just close this one down.
But I don't think
no cheesy shenanigans level 1. But they do burn Chovy's flash. I think this is a game that was far more competitive. I think that this was a moment where Dom was calling it too. It's like we should just why is Korea allowed to walk up like this with no flash? I think it's very fair and very true. I think here Peanut is kind of just wasting his spells to try to make Aurelion Sol connect, but I think they could have easily one-shot the Blitz. YamatoCannon is incredibly strong in fights like this because he can't get targeted and his W is insanely powerful. They get a turnaround and they get a kill for the Jings. Good start for GENG. I think some of the pain was felt later on in the game when the Blitzcrank hooks began to land. And that is where a lot of the issues began to come in. Another Blitzcrank hook, boom, gets snacked on. We continue. I just want to highlight like some of these fights where Peanut on Viego could have been the difference maker, but turned out not to be. Here, Doran fucks up a very important, crucial combo because this could have been a situation where Faker, dies. He just waits the ult too long so Faker can actually flash. Usually you just E-flash R and you buffer the R, and then the enemy has no counterplay to it. And Doran just kind of messed that up. I don't understand the follow-up here from Faker because here he just kind of runs it down and walks in. I don't know why he's going so close to melee range. A very uncharacteristic fight here from T1 because, they... there was a level 1 cheese. Doran flashed for nothing. You missed it. Oh yeah, shit. I did forget that. Holy moly. You're right. I forgot it. Doran was in the bush. I forgot it completely. Thank you. I forgot about this. I completely forgot about this. I just think this won't lead to anything. Unless Blitzcrank like face checks, but he has no reason to contest. Like, especially it's like, look how these two are playing. Like they are borderline like showing the enemy that they are doing this. Like, this is a bit too much. It's like the fact that Tom is not looking to Q is crazy. Oh man. I think we can jump back to to the point. It's like maybe if Blitzcrank face checks you, maybe you can kill, but it wasn't really a thing. There was such a crucial moment because Gragas gets cancelled on the TP. You can see in the little pip here on the bot that he gets cancelled, which is, of course, a big mistake. The fact that my man is basing it where Sion can ult him and also see him is obviously problematic because him potentially TPing here could have been such a big difference maker. Because the fact that the Gragas TP doesn't land means that T1 can now continue. YamatoCannon is dead and Faker is here on the flank, and I think this is a good highlight reel of why Annie is broken. Just look at her killing Tibers, like just killing the Jinx like that, and then Chovy's under the turret. And he dies too. Really, really big swing, but it all comes off of the back of this failed TP and a very good read here from T1. It's just so tricky because Viego is thinking that the Gragas TP will land on top. So he's in bottom side. And then they send Aurelion Sol TP to fix the Gragas mistake, but it's far too late. So, and that means that Aurelion Sol gets dove and the Jinx gets dove, and it's just such a big swing of gold. It's a disaster. It is a complete disaster. We continue to some of the key moments. If you want to watch this game, it's just a very gorgeous highlight reel of our boy. It was also so uncharacteristic, It's like the first initial games that were being played were so damn sloppy. It's like we have Zeus here crossing between turrets. I'm not so sure why. He wants to drop a ward or something. He's just crossing between turrets, which invites GENG here to just collapse on them. Zeus could have also just planted over, but he chooses not to. Phelios has 3-1 and mythic advantage, and they're fighting on the enemy's strong members. It's just a complete mess. Here, this is clearly bugged. So Peanut is currently Scion because he picked up his corpse. But look how slow his HP decays. Look how slow his HP decays. What is this Scion, man? His HP is not moving. Look at this zombie. Look at that. It looks kind of funny. Look at his HP, it's still decaying. I don't think it mattered too much, but it was kind of funny to see live. I'm not sure what the interaction is or why it is the case. Not sure. But once again, like, I wanted to highlight Zeus being completely here in Zimbabwe, you know. It just wasn't the way. Definitely wasn't the way. I want to find this big fight that happened in topside. That'll probably be the final moment. Just I guess we can check what Korea is actually doing. Is he just hex flushing over the wall? And then he's just Tokyo drifting? Okay. Yeah, I know that they can use Kato's passive and Scion passive, but here it's clearly bugged that he doesn't lose enough HP, you know? He doesn't get drained. So this is the one. So this is the sequence that, you know, I just wanted to highlight this because I got a little bit of, you know, some homies, when I criticized Peanut for his mechanical play, some homies were, you know, claiming that, you know, people hold on to their opinions of players sometimes from a deep past. Right, but let's just see how the sequence plays out, okay? So it's like Peanut, it just completely gets drifted on. It's like Peanut, they both just completely get their ankles shattered. And here, Peanut chooses not to pick up Faker. He's instead oinking in the bush and picking up mushrooms. I think that Gragas also could have just ulted earlier and they could have picked up the Tibbers. And then here, he misses the flash stun onto Gumeyushi, which is fair, right? Gumeyushi flash, so that's okay, right? But this whole sequence could have been played better, right? This could have been played better. Now, honestly, after this sequence, right, it's like the Philios is a little bit too ahead of the curve, and things are looking very grim, understandably so. We can move on to game number 3. The bangers of bangers. Game number 3. T1 gets sent to the blue side. GENG are going on red. They ban Lucian, Nautilus, Maokai. They replace the Lulu ban with a Maokai ban because here they can at least pick Super on 3. And all in all, Vi, Ari, Keisante. So in terms of the changes, right, it's just that T1 were showing that maybe they are capable of picking Maokai themselves first, which is entirely plausible, right? I think if a jungler doesn't play Vi or Maokai at this point, then what have you been doing for the last year? And he gets first picked because T1 showed that they're willing to play both sides of this AD matchup, Jinx and Aphelios. Jinx gets picked, and then Wukong, which is a go-to Peanut special when Maokai and Vi is out of the picture. Aphelios Lulu, which is quite the challenge here, right? It's like, here I don't like the Thresh. I don't like the Thresh locking into Lulu. I think here you should say, yo, I'm slamming Blitzcrank and I'm gonna have a good time. If you don't have the confidence to slam Blitz, I think that you have a bit of a problem. A bit of a problem, let's be honest. GENG go 4-5 and they decide to remove the junglers that, of course, Owner has played so far, Poppy and Nocturne. And T1 choose to ban Lissandra and then Malphite. Here Rumble pick on 4, I kinda like it. When I was watching it live, I wasn't so sure. I thought that if Rumble goes mid against Annie, he's going to be just a constant target to get ganked because he needs to always kind of play in Annie's range. And I didn't think that GENG would be the team that plays, you know, a very strong 2v2 centric game. But the Rumble did a lot of work this game and had a lot of good moments in the game too. I thought here on 5 as well that they might look to pick Ornn, but I think that you want to kind of secure a game where you have Rumble basically solo AP. Nevertheless, Sion, Kha'Zix gets picked. They just wanted to have an AD jungler. I thought that once again they're gonna pick Lee here, but maybe they just think Lee is useless or something. After the finals, we haven't seen any T1 Lee, so maybe they just dropped the Lee and they pick Kha'Zix. It's kind of weird, you know, when now with Vi Maokai being out, I feel like it's not super easy to find like the best jungler to pick in the game. There's like flaws with almost every jungler that you can pick, you know? It's like Poppy can sometimes be good, Nocturne can sometimes be good, Kha'Zix can sometimes be good, Javan can sometimes be good. And I'm curious to follow the situation when it comes to jungle, because nothing is like clearly OP beyond Vi and Maokai so far. And then Gnar. Okay. Let me take you on a ride.
And he's going to come in.
So this game was very one-sided, and it just looked like we're going to have a situation where T1 is going to just 3-0 quick and have a good time. They managed to kill the Gnar, which was very, very close, and Kha'Zix just got the dream base. We have this little dance and jiggle where Doran is just fighting Zeus, and Owner is kind of waiting with his spells to see Doran's decision. He kind of plays it well, and Zeus has to flash out, and Owner finally makes a decision on where to go. He E's and flashes, and then the W, the damage overkill is so narrow. We jump to the Herald situation. It's like this is just a dream condition here for Kha'Zix, you know? It's like you have Serrated Dirk, you have Longsword, things are gorgeous for you, you know? You get the first Drake. GENG, start this little situation. I think if Doran, right? If Doran just ults Faker here, I think they just one-shot him. This was so strange. Like GENG could have maybe done a better job of pulling this out, but I think considering Mega Gnar needs to be stacked and they can't instantly turn, I think it's fine that they do this, right? It's like here in this position, you see that Thresh has a bit of a prior window as well, and Lulu is on his way, but you see them on vision. You have also Jinx ult on your side. Doran doesn't buffer the ult to slam Faker into the wall. And I think that Faker could have been complete one-shot here. But he bounces on his head and Faker gets to reposition and then they kite out. They one-shot Peanut and the Gnar ult is just way too slow. The trade 1-for-1, but the Sion ult combo gets a lot of value. And the passive is here to do a lot of work. I think this is one of the situations that GENG could have played better, but T1 are now in a situation where they're getting a lot of kills in trades. In trade for this Herald, of course. We jump forward. Here, crucial lesson here, guys. On this Drake. Crucial lesson. Here GENG have the superior position, but they need to invite T1 to fight. If they are the ones rushing towards T1, T1 gets the superior position. Right now, they're the ones with the arc, and the enemy team can't really cross into here. It's very, very hard. The only thing they can really look to hope for is maybe a Kha'Zix steal. Sion gets hooked, they could have played it slow, the Rumble ult, it was very easy to disengage from. Still from this position now, I feel like GENG could potentially peace out. But this chase is far too desperate. Far too desperate. In my opinion. Peanut is spotted on a ward. And they already got the Drake, but they tried to break through mid here for no reason at all. And they're giving T1 fighting chances. They took a lot of damage to even consider this fight. Sion is impassive. The reset starts flying. And Aphelios gets 2 more kills. Wasn't necessary. They could have just reset the position. There's no Nash threat. They could have taken it easy. They got what they came for. And they had many moments where they could have reconsidered the fight that they took. Now everything changes because Aphelios, of course, is so far ahead of the curve in terms of his items. I thought this was kind of crazy from T1. They just kind of started Nash. Nothing clear. I wanted to kind of look at this because I didn't review this when this happened live. Let me see why they chose to force Nash here. I think it comes down to just Nar showing on the bot wave and them knowing he doesn't have TP. So they just wanted to leverage 4v5. Okay. Still, it was in the 50-50 realm, but of course you have Kha'Zix and you have a lot of bursts that you can burst with, right? Just any spells in Kha'Zix Q and just burst it and then smite. Let me see if they do it. Like this was dangerously close. Very close. When you can argue that they were in a dominant position. Right? Very close. So now with this Nasher, you'd think T1's gonna end this game. It's gonna be a good time. T1's gonna end this game. It's gonna be easy and flawless. But now the craziest next 3 minutes that I've seen it the whole year. The craziest 3 minutes of the whole year. Wow. Here, Gumayushi and Korea, they're thinking about two different things, right? I think that Korea's decision is better because Gumayushi's decision relies on the enemy making a mistake. Because Korea just wants to cross into mid, right? But Korea is now on this side of the wall and Gumayushi is just having a good time. But Gumayushi feels very strong here and rightfully so. He has red, white and he has 3 items, Gale Force ready, Sums ready and a Lulu with ult and flash, right? So Doran is looking to jump on him, he just eased dry, and this is of course completely grief from Doran, right? And this plays out this way, and in a world where Gumayushi flashes on Pays right now, I think they just end the game. But it takes time to flash, he can't auto to lifesteal, and now the game is in the open. The game is in the open. We fast forward. Gumayushi giving an item, almost a full item to Jinx. She catches up. We fast forward now to Annie getting caught. She is crossing into topside and they spot her on vision. Now Annie's gonna get engaged on here. So this looks very good. Delight, of course, doing his best yellow star impression, but at least the hook. Well, did the hook land? I don't even know if the hook lands. Oh, it does land. So God bless. At least that's something. So Annie starting the fight like this gives a reset to, of course, Jinx. And she's going to start enjoying herself and hitting. This time around, I think that Chovy lands a beautiful Rumble ult. But Pays hits a ward. I think that in this spot, right, he has lethal tempo fully stacked. I think that he needs to be able to space Gumayushi and play on, you know, on his own distance and his own range. Here, Rumble ult, look at that beautiful Rumble ult here. Pays gets excited, full lethal tempo stack. I think that he should be able to space Gumayushi, especially as he's standing in this shithole right here, right? But he's trying, I guess, I'm seeing now that he actually killed the turret. He killed the turret. Maybe he has to kill the turret, actually. Now in hindsight, when I'm looking at this again, I didn't realize that he was hitting a turret, because I thought he was just hitting wards. I think if he walks through that Aphelios turret, probably he just gets fucked. So I understand. I think it makes sense now. He autoed the Aphelios turret. Now it makes sense. Okay. Yeah, the tricky thing here is kind of needs to take the lantern because the Kha'Zix will EQW him and hit him, right? And he'll actually get dangerously low. So it's a tough situation. T1 once again, I think they can just end off of this fight. T1 could just end off of this fight. Like here, they can just choose to do Nexus. They don't even need to kill Chovy. Like Chovy needs to heal to full. I don't think he can kill Zeus at all. Like, they can just end. They have Demolished, they have super minions. It's gonna be a good time. There's 2 super creeps coming. And look at the death timers of GENG. Instead, they really want to kill Chovy. I don't know why. but they want to kill him. Zeus stacks the turret auto and then resets the aggro, and now Owner is tanking. And the beauty of this moment is that Chovy walked to the fountain, and now my man Boris just said, do you need a stopwatch? Have the stopwatch. He stopwatches. I think probably the Sunfire damage would have been enough. It's like Chovy could maybe walk another frame, heal from the fountain. Maybe he could survive. People that say 800 APM play don't understand exactly what an 800 APM play is, but that's okay. You can call it whatever you want. Welcome to the stream. Chovy regens from the fountain, W, and then he goes. He bought it exactly when he was in range. And there's some variants of how you could do this, right? You can walk and you can open up the shop and you can prepare it. And then you can just, as you get close, you P and you press it, right? So it's a very good stopwatch buy. It was incredible. I spotted it while it happened in game. I think it was really, really cool, really nice, and it saved the game. This is one of those moments where you see the Rumble buff in action too, because here he's just reducing the Scion's armor with his harpoons, and it was really, really good. But in all honesty, T1 had 2 opportunities to end the game. 2 opportunities to end the game. And now somehow we're in this spot. Gumayusi has no sums. Zeus is not alive, and plain and simple, T1 have no business contesting this. I think what Gumayusi is trying to squeeze in this moment is the fact that Aphelios ult is on cooldown. Look at that Aphelios ult ticking down. The Aphelios ult is ticking down, and he just doesn't have Aphelios ult. And they're walking into this fight like, this game is still completely in the open. You have souls spawning. You could take it easy. But I don't know why T1 felt the need to ult. I mean, to fight here to the death. What's the point here? In a world where Gumayusi has ult on, Jesus Christ, guys. Imagine Gumayusi has ult on. At any point, imagine Gumayusi had ult now. Oh my goodness. And no one tell me that Genji timed that shit. There's not a... Like, you have a feeling for it, okay? You have a feeling. You say, Aphelios has ult down, and you have a feeling for it. Yeah, you kind of get a feeling for the moment. But imagine here Aphelios has ult. It's Penta. It's actually Penta. But Gumayusi didn't have the ult. He didn't. No. I can tell you. It's like either they just said Aphelios no ult and they didn't realize how close it was, but they don't know it to a T. 100%. They don't know it to a T. It's like you can guesstimate, but things could have been very, very different if Aphelios had ult here. But nevertheless, right? They get a fight going. Gumayusi doesn't get ult on time, and Peanut just finds the simple R onto Gumayusi and the follow-up of Doran. He stopwatches, but it doesn't really matter. Zeus tried to drift into this fight, but it's just over. And somehow, miraculously, Genji got back into this game. Maybe even here, if T1 chose not to fight, because no flash of Aphelios, they got to set up for the play here. Like, keep in mind here, right? It's like, the enemy team needs to protect Nexus. There's anti-TP. They need to be so scared of the enemy ending. They need to fix bot. And it's GG, you know? So, if T1 chose not to fight this, they would have had another great chance at winning the game. I would probably say that they are favorites. But Instead, we had this conclusion, and we had the beginning of what turned out to be a banger series. This was by far the most interesting game of the day. Game number 4. GENG back on blue. Lucian, Annie, Nautilus out. Yamato Kesante. Now this change-up is that they ban Annie after 3 straight Annie games. Jinx gets first pick. It just pays preference and it denies, any type of action. Lulu gets picked. Ahri. They want to make sure that GENG don't get any ideas about picking Lulu themselves, especially after this game, right? They go Lulu, Ahri. Deny the Ahri from Chovy. Wukong, Lissandra. Aphelios drop support. Blitzcrank Trash. The usual answers into Lulu. And then they follow up with the Rakan. I don't think Rakan is that strong of a pick. This is more like a comfort thing, Does Lissandra counter Ahri? Yes and no. I think 2v2 wise, even when Ahri has Wukong, Ahri has Mercs, you can find CC chains that break her apart. You have, I think in terms of lane phase, probably Ahri is slightly better, but Lissandra can sometimes find pushing windows and then roam. She forces cleanse and so forth. We continue. Poppy gets banned, Sion gets banned. They want to open up the Nocturne. To be fair, I think Nocturne is not the strongest against Lissandra and Wukong. But nevertheless, they go Gragas blind and then Rakan, and then T1 just stick to their identity by picking a little, pick a little Ornn. Your opinions on did T1 really break Mad? They really didn't seem like the first LCC despite the rest of the 2 days of the previous stomp. They didn't break them. Mad, I think, was worse than G2 even in the best of 5 that they won against them, but they just had a much better read on draft, and that can mean a lot, right? But there's been 6 games that Mad played this tournament, and the same 3 champions got banned against him every game, no matter the side. So they just got figured out. Okay, we're back to T1. So, Lulu, Ahri, Aphelios, Nocturne into Lissandra, Wukong, Tough, and then Ornn on 5. I don't think it's like horrible. I think that T1 have a better bot lane matchup into the Rakan and Jinx. I think Lulu Aphelios has a really good time. I think Ahri into Lissandra, Wukong is in the end of days. I think Nocturne is a little bit worse here, but I try to think, it's like, what other jungler would I want to pick? It's like, this is just a beefy boy that has like a little bit of pressure and fight against Jinx, gives a good ult, right? It is what it is. And then Ornn on 5. I don't think T1's draft is that bad this game. It really isn't. Let's jump into the game. This game was a bit of a weird one. I'm trying to remember the details of it because I'm doing this dry, right? I just came off the back of the G2 series. I remember that Doran got solo killed by Zeus somehow. I have no clue how. That shit was strange. Fake was having a good time. Lane phase, no magic mantle. I thought this was kind of strange, all things considered. I thought it was very weird that Chovy here held his spells for so long. Like, I didn't understand why he doesn't ult Owner already. Like, he waited kind of long here. I need to just check here if he actually loses vision of him. He actually loses vision of him. That's why. Wow. They actually lose vision of him. He loses vision of him. That is crazy. I didn't even realize. I don't think Nocturne E reveals you. Okay. 1 for 1. I don't think you get revealed. I think if you press the E on someone before you go the bush, like if you press the E out of the bush, I think that you reveal yourself. But if your E is on and then you go into the bush, I don't think you reveal yourself. That is my guess. I could be wrong. Like if I'm in the bush and I E someone or W with Karma, I do reveal myself. But if my W is already on, the tether is already on, I think I don't reveal myself if I go into the bush. I'm pretty sure this is how it is. We continue. Doran got Woody Fruited. I like, well, Zeus didn't necessarily need to hold W, but I appreciate that he held W. Like, he could have just W'd, right? You see here, this is the combo. You Q, when you hit the Q, you press R, and then you E into R, into bonk, into W, bonk. Boom. That's a good time. The little Zeusy Orn. Huge timing kill. At least Doran got some punching back, right? I thought here in this moment, already here. Like, if we go back, I thought Zeus is dead here already. I thought Zeus is dead here when they panned over. Like, he can just get ulted now, has no flash, and I think that Doran actually just kills him. But instead, round 2, Electric Boogaloo, and we get a little kill, and we deliver it to Jinx. It's a real big one. 3-0 in Jinx. They got the gank in bot. It's massive. Completely massive. I began to worry about our dear friends T1 when this happened. Sandra E's over and Faker doesn't even R away. Peanut sneaks up under him, not secured on mid. This was starting to look very rough. Things were going right for, of course, GENG. All over the place. The Rakan Jinx lane managed to get through. The Wukong gank landed on bottom. Everything Chovy is doing is just working. It began to look like this is going to be a reverse sweep moment. T1, do look for the cross map. I think this is a very crucial mistake here from Doran, that he's posturing so far on the wave when his team is trying to secure the Herald, because this play on bot would play out so different if he actually was healthy under the turret. Very tough to dive the Sunfire Cape Gragas if he was under the bot turret. But instead, the situation that we have is my man is trying to kill the wave. He doesn't have information that supports the idea of him doing this. His team is playing topside, and T1 are just finding this catch here. And this was a bit of a comeback swing, because they get the bot turret as well. This is also very strange. Like, in terms of the setup, T1, it looked like they were losing it, you know? It's like Nocturne being... I feel like here, T1, I thought that they have to cross into mid and fix the lane assignment. Because the issue is with having Lulu Aphelios top, is that the enemy is going to take prio, hover into you, and you're not going to be able to breathe. And you're going to just get choked out on the map. I thought after they pushed that wave, I thought they're going to look to just step into mid and fix the lane assignments. But they didn't. Now Wukong just places the Herald. The T1 draft was so trash. Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think people overestimate the whole draft. It's like the Wukong got double kill on bot on gank timer, and then Faker was kind of running it down. And if you fall behind, sure, then it's a terrible draft. But I don't think this was like a draft-related game necessarily. I don't think you can set that up. I think they should have switched the lane assignment. They had to like limp into this top situation and kind of fix it. Zeus is refusing to flash. I don't understand why Zeus is not flashing. Ahri versus Liz is fine. Yeah, it is. It's like Nocturne, yeah. Nocturne might have a hard time, but the issue is like, what do you replace Nocturne with, you know? It's like, finding 80 junglers to play right now is not super easy. It's like, sure, maybe you can play like Jarvan, I don't know. Jarvan is also like, has problems. It's very hard to find like a strong jungle pick, in my opinion, right now. And most jungle picks have issues. The Poppy was banned. Like playing Nocturne in the Lissandra Wukong does suck ass. But it's like, what do you pick? Maybe you play like an AD top and some AP jungler into Wu. Maybe that's what you play. Right? Maybe you just pick Gragas on 4 and then play an AD top laner. Could be. Viego as well has the same issue against Wukong Lissandra. Most AD junglers just suck into Wukong Lissandra. Lee, maybe, but similar issues, right? It's tough, you know? It's very tough. Camille Graves? No. Zeus didn't flash because he didn't have flash. Are you sure? Like this replay overlay might be wrong. But nevertheless, we don't need to get stuck on the flash. Like this replay overlay. No flash. It's like this fucking overlay. Is it that terrible? Okay, he didn't have flash. You're right. You're right. You're right, no flash. But yeah, the problem more there is the fact that T1 have the wrong lane assignment, and then the enemy crashes mid, breaks, and then goes into top. So it's just a lane assignment diff. Now at this point, game is very, very GENG. GENG favored, obviously. Jinx is ahead of the curve. Has stopwatch as well. I thought this was very strange, right? Because if you look at the state of the game, you have the Lulu, you have the Aphelios. GENG are struggling to convert their position into a win because it's chem tech map. Every Drake they're collecting all the way to Soul, and even at Soul, is not that useful. As long as T1 defend their tier 2 and protect this pocket here, right here, and they find access to Nash, they can easily, you know, delay this game. But that is, of course, like the Chemtech Soul Drake role is insanely lucky. It's like T1 got mountain on mountain on mountain 3 games in a row, and then the 4th game, the one time GENG is ahead, there's a Chemtech Soul map. So here, T1 have everything, like basically this whole sequence here, they're just delaying the game, and we're just ping-ponging back and forth. They're defending their own jungle. You know, Ornn can even go Relic Shield at this point. He can just give CS and get a little bit of farm. There's this issue that T1 need to solve, is the fact that Lulu needs to find Mikaels. They need to find Mikaels because Gumiushi is, of course, the target to kill. And then maybe on 3 core, Lulu with the buffs towards Aphelios, they will have some angles to fight. But instead, they just decided to, you know, just all in on this fight that is just not necessary. So this entire sequence here, they've just delayed the game. GENG tried to enter into here, but T1 is just defending, and it's rough, you know. So now we have this fight. I don't know if T1 didn't realize that Paze does have this stopwatch, but they just pulled the trigger. I don't know why Zeus is pushing so far forward. This is the moment, like Zeus is checking. They have vision on Nash right now. They have vision on Nash. They know that everyone's in this bush, and Zeus is just pushing forward. Maybe it's something that they are calling because Gumayushi has like a blue gun and so forth. So you know, I don't know why they're looking for this. Now I have the situation where Zeus is getting gunned down, and then the Gragas ult. Very cool move here from Zeus where he does the R flash, right? And he just, you know, if this stopwatch isn't there, you know, this is very tough. Because Gragas is ulting now to cancel the Ornn ult. To CC him, right? So he can't bonk it. But Zeus R flashes and the stopwatch is right there, you know? But here the stopwatch comes in. Keep in mind, right? He's not reacting to the Ornn ult. Why I say this is because Nocturne already is ulting, so he can't see it, right? He is stopwatching because fucking the Everfrost is coming, and he is just stopwatching, you know? It's a really fucking good stopwatch, but I just want to make sure, you know, the reasoning here behind the stopwatch is just, he sees the Ornn ult fucking coming, Nocturne ult is on, he needs to fucking just stopwatch. It's a really, really fucking good stopwatch, but he's doing it because he doesn't have the fucking information, right? Stopwatch, this is the biggest advertisement for stopwatch. But it's crazy as well. It's like Zeus does a really good mechanic here with the R flash. Because otherwise, Gragas ult cancels him. You see this? The Gragas ult is in the air right now. In that frame. Boom. And now the stopwatch gets turbo value, the charm out of it, the Gale Force out from pace, he's kiting back, Owner is not so tanky, well, I mean, he doesn't do a lot of damage, he is tanky, because of the chains, of course, and now GENG got this fight that they were really, really looking for and inviting. This was, you know, a good idea. Imagine a world where stopwatch wasn't there, right? Then it would have been really, really rough. You say that Gumayushi's Gale Force is bad? Maybe, you know, he's kind of looking to just do a full combo of damage, right, with his guns. He has a blue ult into Gale Force QQ, you know? He's just trying to do as much fucking damage as possible when they're all stacking together, you know? And then Delight finds a really nice W on him and he dies. It's like either he looks for this damage and Ari gets some kind of reset and they get the fight going. Otherwise, this game is just GG, you know? Somehow, you know, in this moment, if we look at it from a macro perspective, they know that the enemy is going to be playing bot side. This wave is too far off. There's no tier 2. So Lulu prepares this whole situation by placing a ward on a location where no one absolutely is going to sweep. No one's sweeping this. I'm telling you that much. No one's sweeping this. Maybe if you have like 4 sweepers and you just fucking sweep everything, but it's very hard to spot such a ward. Lissandra now TPs to the situation, and now Ornn bases and he's going to look for the Bazinga TP. He starts channeling it. I don't understand why Gragas is in mid. I think that at these points in the game you should just group as 5 because you can just hit the turret. You don't need to put Nash on 2 waves. I don't think it matters at all. I think the Gragas should just be with the homies, especially against Nocturne, right? But nevertheless, they jump in. This Jinx does have flash and she Gale Forces out of the range. Nocturne does get killed, but Jinx can't really leverage her speed and she doesn't know where the fuck this Ornn is coming from. Because the Ornn, like basically here, is like from Jinx's point of view, this fucking Ornn, like he fucking showed up out of fucking nowhere, by the way. Nowhere. Beautiful TP. Very nice TP. And then Gumayushi, it's fucking, is flashing over the wall and he's just pursuing. It was really good. Nog was a bait? Yes and no, right? He did his job by just blinding the opposition. And it was beautiful. Beautiful usage of Nocturne ult, the Fog of War. And just the idea to place this ward like that to set up for this fight was really beautiful. And now for the game decider. I thought at first here, I don't understand why Doran didn't ult this. Like, why is he not ulting Zeus? Why is it, just ult him? Just ult the man. If he flashes, okay. He has no flash then, and we walk out, no problem. But he's just not, like, he even got rooted. Zeus is just a psychopath here. Jinx roots. Doran can just press R. He could just press R. Beautiful Gragas ult to, of course, deny the Ornn. Not beautiful, it sounds like he did something amazing, but it needs to happen, right? Because the the Ornn ult's gonna fly from fog, it's gonna be tough to react to it, and T1 can definitely like look for an opportunity to fight here if the Ornn ult goes, right? Gumayushi is just trying to play from range, and Gragas is trying to E out. This is absolutely crazy. It's like Chovy's angle here that he finds is just saves the game. Because this is a very losing situation. Look at Pei's HP. Pei's is in big trouble. But look at Chovy. He finds the angle. Maybe in a world where Korea knocks him up and then he finds the polymorph on Chovy, maybe he can deny the damage that Chovy did. But look at Chovy there. Oof. This is the sign to go. Wukong turns around. The fucking... the Rakan comes in and delivers. You know? This is gorgeous. Only person who saw this coming was Korea. Only person. And I mentioned before, Mikhails is so important. I thought Korea is going to rush it this game because Aphelios is not running cleanse. But here he gets CC chained, he gets knocked up, and he can't get out. And GENG make a miraculous turnaround in the series, walking into a game number 5. Wow. Coming into game number 5, T1 switched it up. Vi, Wukong, Maokai ban just deny all of the champions that, of course, the boy Wonder likes to play. Mr. Peanut. First pick K'Sante, because K'Sante was always banned by T1 in the previous series, but here they want to lock the K'Sante. K'Sante gives you options, right? You can go Nidalee Jinx, you can go Xayah Rakan drop, K'Sante flex, you can do a lot of stuff, right? You can send K'Sante top, you can play AD junglers, AP junglers. It just gives your draft so much flexibility, and it also denies some of the flexibility from the opposition because they can't pick a lot of the champions that they would like to pick, especially in the mid and especially in the jungle too. Aphelios Poppy gets locked in. You just slam Poppy because I think after these champions are out, Poppy gets value against K'Sante as well. You know, leaving K'Sante open was a mistake. I'm not so sure, right? It's very hard to choose what to open, you know? Very hard to choose what to open. It's like here, picking any of these other champions I think can be rather poisonous, right? So Aphelios Poppy gets locked in and they want to just leverage counter pick support. Xayah Rakan gets slammed. And I thought here, Xayah Rakan is slammed. I thought plain and simple, this is going to be a Lulu on 3. You say GENG lost on not banning K'Sante. Like, I think it's very hard to choose exactly what you want to leave open. And I don't think K'Sante was the biggest issue in this game. I think it's just K'Sante, sure, it provides you a lot of flexibility, but I think it's, you know, it's tough. Especially in a scenario where T1 was the one banning K'Sante in every other game. Right? They banned K'Sante in every other game. And sure, there are things to do against K'Sante. I think G2 showed it too. You know, as long as you're willing to pick a champion that is good into K'Sante and play it in 2 lanes, you know, you can find value against K'Sante. But nevertheless, we continue. Ahri on 3. I think Ahri with first strike. But I thought they're gonna pick Lulu here. Or Thresh at least. But instead they ban, like they drop and Thresh Lulu gets banned and they end up on Alistar. That shit was crazy. I was hoping for Triss for Chovy R5, but the issue is it's like, it depends on your jungle pool. It's like the Tristana cases for Genji have been with Maokai. It needs to be with an AP jungle, right? I just think that here in this spot, right? I think that you just secure top pick on 4, support on 3, and then 5 pick mid for Chovy, who has been performing so fucking well this series. I think that's the way. I don't know why Alistar was in this game. And I think these trash Lulu bans just sniped the enemy in half. They banned Lissandra Elise. And then here, finally, we get to see Owner Rumble. Like, this is something that he prepared on solo queue, spammed the shit out of it, and then Gragas. And I said instantly, let's change to the Rumble jungle, Gragas top, K'Sante mid, plain and simple, alright? And then Gwen on 5. Gwen on 5 into Gragas, I think it's kind of whatever. I think it's whatever. I think also, it is tough, right? Because with these 3 bans, they cannot be like, yo, Peanut, can you drop jungle? He's gonna say, no, I fucking can't. I don't have champs to play. Because in a different world, right, is they pick Aphelios Lulu, Aphelios Ari, and then they pick Lulu on 3 or Trash on 3. That could be something. And then Lissandra Elise. And then it's like, what the fuck is what is Peanut gonna play if Poppy gets banned? You know, it's tough. I just think last pick for the boy wonder, you know, Chovy, 4th pick top, 3rd pick support would have been a lot better for Genji. But I think they got really curved ball here about the Xayah Rakan. But Poppy gets value here, right? Poppy gets value. Poppy is valuable against Rakan, valuable against K'Sante, not the best against Xayah. I think Rumble and Gragas obviously don't give a shit about Poppy. So you say Kha'Zix J4 in the chat, right? But playing J4 against K'Sante sucks. I think against Xayah it's neutral, and in a lot of cases worse. Rakan doesn't give a shit about Javan. You know, Viego, he sucks ass on. Kha'Zix, he's probably worse on. This is just not Peanut champions. And I don't mean to disrespect Peanut, because Peanut is fucking good when it comes to playing these easier to execute junglers. Because he has good awareness of what he needs to do in fights, and good awareness of where he needs to be. But in terms of mechanical skill, like if someone's playing Bel'Veth, he needs to be fucking mechanically really crispy, you know? Like you need to fucking bite into it and there needs to be like a crunch. You know? You know, that kind of crunch. Needs to be bubblicious delicious. You get me? Smart player, but his hands, you know, have seen better days. So, Rumble Gragas, I think here just Alistar is so fucking out of place. It's like you want to play Alistar into these champs, bro, you're having a fucking hard time. Wasn't he like a Leo TP? Peanut has had a very long career. Like insanely long career. He's a legend. Damn legend. But what he did in 2017, 2018, 2019, all of these years, bro, it's like, it's not the same. It's a long time ago. He was one of the best Nidalis ever to grace the game, but it was a long time ago. It's long in the past. So I think Blue Side is just a better draft altogether. You know? I don't know if there's an argument for maybe they leave like some Champion Open here and they reconsider K'Sante ban. Maybe. But I understand their state of mind, you know? And I think that T1 made a very good adjustment in the last game. Vi, Wukong, Maokai completely denying Peanutsky and getting the K'Sante. I think it was a good adaptation. Okay, game number 5. What happened in game number 5? Game number 5 was quite a slow and uneventful game. I'm not gonna lie. Things were more revolved around objectives, and the teams and the players played quite timid. Everything was just silently... How was Peanutsky denied when he got the Popushka? Yeah, sure he got the Popushka. But would we feel good about the Popushka if T1 played something different 2-3? That wasn't Xayah Rakan? Like, if he reads the game and he just knows that Rakan is coming there 2-3 no matter what, God bless him. He's the GOAT. But, in my mind, if he had that Super Saiyan read, God bless him. He's just the GOAT. He's just the GOAT. What can do? Yeah, fuck Alistar, man. I think Ari into Kisante is not as bad as you want to make it out to be. It's like you can farm first strike, and as long as you go Liandry's, I think that you're going to go have like a really good time in this game. But he went Everfrost. He went Everfrost. That should just be just picked support on 3 anyway, and just let the enemy reveal where Kisante goes, and 5 pick, of course, mid. 4th pick top, just so I can pick a tank for Doran. Like, don't put him on Gwendolina, and would have been fine, right? Yeah, Liandry Voidrava is an example, yeah. I think like Ari is completely fine, right? But the fact that Ari is picked instead of support, that's the problem. That is the problem. This game was a silent game. We were vibing. We were vibing. Let's go to the crucial moments in the game. Ego drafting? No, I don't think it's ego drafting. Bro, we gotta stop saying ego drafting. This guy's choking. This team just got broken by these other guys. No, man, it's a game. It's only a game. Well, Yamato, what happened to Genji? Comedian, huh? Comedian. I'm losing gas. I'm losing gas, guys. I'm losing gas. Well, I don't even remember what happened in this game anymore, honestly. What happened in this game? Alright. So Chovy finished 2 court, he TP'd in, and Genji decided not to fight. Here it looks like Chovy wants to fight. I think he's surprised that they don't fight. Peanut's getting space, you know. I think Peanut, it looks like Genji want to fight, but they don't fight. I don't know why they didn't fight. I feel like they couldn't cross this point. Maybe they couldn't cross this point. It looks kind of dangerous. Rumble's gonna barbecue them. It looks kind of hard. Looks kind of hard. Looks very hard. Continue. How did this game end? What happened? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I remember now. I remember. So basically, T1 is posturing to set up for the Dretzky. T1 choose to punish, or try to punish, the fact that Genji overpostured for Drake into a little Nash. They decide not to finish because they couldn't really find a good flank angle with the Dragoon. And it ended up being, you know, nothing. Let's just fast forward to this point already, instead of me talking about it. Here we go. So Genji, saw the Drake, and T1. Let's go Nash. We have 2 core on Doran. 2 core on Zeus. I just called the Gragas Doran, sorry. 2 core on Zeus, 2 core on Owner, 2 core on everybody. They're feeling frisky, they want to force Nash. Zeus is in a flank position. They're looking to commit to a potential fight. I thought maybe T1 can commit harder into this. But their Nash isn't like the quickest, and GENG managed to connect like on time. It's like the Nash is still 10k. But I thought if T1 can invite the enemy to maybe push in a little bit forward, you know, things would have been more gorgeous. This Chovy build is so ass, by the way. Yeah, it does lack a little bit of an oomph to it. Definitely lacks a little bit of oomph. I thought he's going to go Leandre into Void just to do some DPM, you know. But this is like a setup. All right, we continue. So they try to turn with Faker. He gets charmed. Chovy gets barbecued, and they're backing off. GENG's kiting back. They denied the Nash, and T1 repositioned around mid because Drake is still alive. Maybe there's an argument for Doran to still maybe do the Drake in Fog and then TP in. Maybe that's something they could have done. I'm not so sure. It's not like it does it super fast, right? It's a fucking 12k HP Drake. So this is where a crucial moment happens in the game, obviously because it decides the game. But I want you to pay attention now to Chovy and Doran. Chovy and Doran, they're not in the same state of mind as this Alibaba. And Alistar found a very, very good angle. So we have one chatter, he said, what the fuck is Delight doing here? This is like, honestly, if this is... like, I'm playing Alistar this whole fucking shit game, by the way. This whole fucking shit game, I'm playing Alistar. I see one fucking time where I can be useful. I'm fucking taking it. Okay? But Doran and the Chovster weren't ready. Where is Chovy running? They can get Bob. Like, honestly, look at this, okay? Look at this. He finds a little spot. Boom. He snacks on Gumayushi. He doesn't react. And imagine if these homies were in position. They could have snacked on him. There's no cleanse, nothing. Chovy's in position. Imagine if Chovy's here, he R's into E-Flash. Dead. They needed someone to scream, look, 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 look. Yes. They needed someone to scream, look, look, look. They could have maybe killed Zaya here. But he gets ult off. Doran refuses to press W. Doesn't react to the Rakan spell. Gets knocked up. One shot. Gumayushi flashes out. And everybody survives. And here comes the barbecue ribs. And it's all over. And it's all over. Sure, you could say, yo, Delight needs to pay attention to the Ahri and the Gwen, and, you know... I'm not Chovy choked. Why does everyone have to fucking choke? No one choked. It's like sometimes you just misstep. You don't see there's like these thin opportunities. You know how hard it is? It's like, you guys can't begin to comprehend how much harder League is when you play against good players. When you play against good players, the windows of opportunity you have is so squeaky. It was miscommunication? No, man. There's no miscommunication either. You think Delight is like, guys, I'm going to hide on bush here and hope that Zaya oversteps and I'm gonna fucking flash on her. Like, these are not comms. This is just split moment decision, and you're assuming that your team postures and tethers appropriately to the situation. But yes, what you could have said is, look. Look. Happens. Man choked on BB's nuts today. BB's nuts. Got him. And that's a series. Banger of a series. This game could have been... this series could have been 3-0, right? It could have been 3-0. I don't know how T1 would recover if they lost this series, by the way. Because they could have ended that game 3 times, the game 3. Crazy. I think the only real, like, victory that GENG, where they played clean and had, like, good advantages, was game number 4. And this like if they lost this, it would have been crazy. By the way, Faker's fucking relieved. By the way, he's like, oof, oof. It's a relief. This loss is on GENG misplays, not on T1 crushing dominance. Let me tell you something about League, yeah? Every play, you can either frame it as a good play or the enemy griefing. Every single play. But this only worked because the enemy played bad. Still, GENG is stronger. No. It's like people forget very fast that GENG lost to T1. You know, GENG lost to T1, and then T1 lost the finals, right? T1 lost the finals, but I think it was that they lost because of poor meta read. Poor meta read. I don't think they necessarily choked. They misplayed, but it's like they misplayed, bro. It's like even T1 versus Matt, game 1. Okay? So basically, like here, right? They are not choking. They just make mistakes. They just make mistakes. It's like, are you saying her owner is like completely losing breath here? Someone administers CPR. No, they just fuck up. They just fucking make mistakes. I think if anything, you know, if anything, right? If anything, you can say, yo, T1 wasn't as good as people made them out to be. And that's fine. That's fine. But it doesn't need to be more complicated than that. So T1 almost lost to Katie, right? Right? I think that's not true. Some plays are definitely a misplay by one team that's, for example, really far ahead, while other things are clear and outplay. Yes, but I was responding to a guy saying, well, GENG, T1 wasn't dominant. GENG only made mistakes. That's what I was responding to. So you need to remember that context. Okay? I don't understand why people need to make it so complicated. It's like, why do people need to like find...
What Palmer is doing? He needs to give me back the position. Cut the chicken. Where is Palmer?
And Fernando Palmer has retired.
Oh, that's hilarious. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the Mad versus G2 draft. So G2 continue with the exact same bands. It's like, it's hilarious to me because Mad were facing the same 3 bands the whole tournament. This is T1 versus Mad. Gragas, Rakan, Vi. Gragas, Rakan, Vi. Gragas, Rakan, Vi. Here, Gragas, Vi, Rakan. They were like, yo, we're gonna keep Mad in suspense here. We're gonna keep them in suspense, and we're gonna switch the order of the band. Gragas, Vi, Rakan. Gragas, Vi, Rakan. Gragas, Vi, Rakan. Aye. Game number 1. Mad Lions get their Maokai draft. Nautilus Affiliates is banned. I was surprised here. You know, Kesante was something that, of course, you know, has had a fantastic impact on the tournament so far, but I feel like Nautilus is up there as well. You know, especially like Kesante is a good answer into Nautilus, so you just have to like... In my mind, I thought, yo, let's see if G2 actually want to play Kesante. I think that was the fucking better move, because G2 didn't really show signs of it, okay? G2, Kesante ban. G2, Kesante ban. G2, Kesante open, win, don't peek. Kesante open, don't peek. So in my mind, I thought, yo, let's see if the enemy wants to play K'Sante and let's stick to the Nautilus ban. I think this would have been a better opener to get like a little bit of more information, in my mind. And maybe you can even create a scenario where you get K'Sante yourself, right? And maybe the idea all along was if, you know, maybe you get some more information. So, Maokai, Nautilus Aphelios, Jinx, Jace. They pick Kha'Zix on 3. So it's like, Kha'Zix on 3, you know, I don't know. I feel so weird about this fucking champ. I feel fucking weird about this champ. It's like, every fucking game, for some reason, it just gets a kill. It just gets a kill. Every game it's picked, it gets a kill. Why does it get a kill? This game, it didn't get a kill, and it was going Gold Drinker and fucking this Gold Drinker build, and I didn't like it. But every other time, every other game, I think at this tournament, Kha'Zix gets a kill, and then he bases and buys Serrated Dirk and Longsword, and I don't know how to rate this champ. I don't know how to rate this champ. I look at Champions Queue, people just running it fucking down against this champ. I look at Solo Queue, Solo Queue jungling is not the same game. I don't know how to rate this champ. Well, nevertheless, we continue. Most of the time, I think if you pick Kha'Zix early and you have to pivot into the Gold Drinker build, I think usually it's like, especially in competitive, I think that, you know, there's probably like a better champion to pick. But here on 3, like if you want to, if my teammate tells me to pick jungle, I'm going to say, okay, I can fucking pick Jarvan here and that's it. I will play Jarvan into Maokai, I can pressure invade, I can play against Jinx and Jace, we remove Thresh out of the game, I can have a good time. Alright. In this particular spot, with Braum and Thresh out, Nautilus on bot becomes pretty strong. You know, keep in mind that, you know, Nautilus is a champion that can go bot. Don't forget that, homies. Okay? So, this is, of course, Mickey's most played as well. Annie gets picked, and Annie is locked in here into the potential Jace mid. And then Leona Gnar gets picked because they want to, you know, here in this spot, Mad Lions is like, yo, if we pick an AP mid laner with Leona Maokai, the enemy's gonna buy Mercs and we're gonna get outskilled. We don't want to get outskilled by 1100 gold. So we better pick an AD top. So in this particular spot, Cannon Sion is out, Gnar is blind picked top, and then Leona gets picked to answer into Nautilus because they show that Annie, of course, is going mid most likely. Annie support is very unlikely. I think it's just too nerfed and that's just not it. And in the worst case scenario where the Annie goes bot, then Leona is still good matchup into it. Yasuo is picked on 5. At first I was like, this is when you pick your champion in solo queue, your support and your AD, you duo queuing, have a good time. You pick Nautilus Aphelios, you say, be right back, I need to take a piss, already did my runes, no problem. You go to the bathroom, you come back, and your fucking teammates have picked Yasuo and Kha'Zix on your team, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? The thing is, I didn't know, I kind of underestimated how good Yasuo's wind wall is going to be in this game. I didn't believe in the selling point that it's good against Jinx, because who the fuck cares, like Jinx, she has, like, her spells besides her R aren't that valuable. It's like, sure, you have some value with wind wall, I get it, but it isn't like that super big deal. So like I'm playing Jinx and then the enemy has Yasuo and I'm like, fuck guys, I can't play the game. That's really not how I feel or how anyone should feel when Yasuo gets picked. But Yasuo Windwall is insanely good against Maokai ult. And I didn't think about this fucking interaction. Like the Maokai ult just gets fucking deleted by Yasuo Windwall. I forgot about this interaction in draft when I was whining about the Yasuo. So, we're very humble on the stream. We admit mistakes. Sorry, universe. Today I learned. We look at this game. The draft where they talked about. You know, I think blue side on paper looks better to me. I think blue side looks better. Blue side just looks better to me. We continue. Isn't Yas the biggest counter to Gnar? It's fake. You can go bone plating. When you're mega, you're stronger. You get ninja tabi. It isn't like the biggest counter ever. I've seen this matchup be played so many fucking times and Yasuo, like, doesn't snowball shit. This was very tragic. So they're basing on a ward, and Mickey just ignites him. Flash ignite. I think here Mickey, you know, oh, full screen. Good call. Here probably Mickey should save Q for the flash. Just bonk him away and have a good time. And then maybe they could save Aphelios' flash. But it's all good, you know. He Qs off of his auto attack, muscle memory and all that. And then they keep the slow. Nautilus gets contact. Sometimes Aphelios players, they like to hold the Q because when you pop it, you actually remove the slow from the opposition. So there's that. I was surprised by Niski Jace. I think he had a decent game. I didn't think of this champion as something that Niski would love to play. If you got depressed by the level difference, mate, you know, you need to touch some grass, my man. Or maybe change your language so I can understand what you're going through a little bit more appropriately. Because depressed, you know, that's a very negative state of mind. Okay? Okay? Okay, okay, okay. Mig is really good, yes. Mig is fantastic. Oof. Hallo Elena. Oof. Oof. Do you guys see this little Aphelios turret and how much damage it's doing? Look at Hansama putting this little turret down, okay? And then he has white-green and he's just helicoptering Kazi. Damn. Wait, Kazi autos a minion? Oh. He does auto a minion. He does auto a minion. Maybe he thought he had a mark? Or high mark? I am running on fumes here, guys. I just checked and I've been talking for 1 hour 30. Niski doing his best caps impression with the Roman bot. What on earth happened this game? What on earth happened this game? Oh yes, this happened. Hansama. Hansama did so much damage before the dive. It's just... Bro, what is this auto attack damage, by the way? Look here, he hits Kazi, okay? Look here, he hits Kazi. 1 basic. Bro, he loses his whole HP. So many chakrams. Here, of course, G2, they are winning the game. But Mickey decides to add some Bubba Ganoush to the mix, making it spicy. No need to go. The enemy needs to go. You're vibing. You're completely vibing. Bam. Let's jump forward. There's this big Drake fight that I want to show, because I think that's going to be the final decider. And then we can move to the next game. This was so uncharacteristic of G2 as well. Well, not honestly not uncharacteristic. Like they haven't been that sharp. It's like here, they are fighting in the bot side river when Maokai is spotted on ward, and then Jace has an easier time connecting. They don't find lethal because this Kha'Zix has a piss build, and sucks. It's like Hansama is not in a position to fight that at all, and just bad situational awareness. I think PTA is good if you're all-inning in lane often, because it gives you a lot of damage. Conqueror is more of a scaling rune, and Fleet Footwork is picked into poke matchups like a Kate Lux. Kha'Zix piss build because he missed W level 3. Yeah, well, I probably should have flash auto that one instead of W. Alright, finally we get this fucking Drake fight that I was talking about. Let's fucking fast forward to that shit. I kind of like this. We don't see it because it's a replay, but I kind of like this map opener from G2. They get so much pressure on the map when they just send their bot lane mid here and then Annie into bot with TP. I like this lane assignment. But the enemy is matching, but they are crossing to kill caps, and they just completely lose their mind. I think here Mad Lions, I don't know if this is the move. I think that Nar should just start basing and go bot. Like he should just go bot the Nar and they just do Herald. Like this looks like a good spot here for Mad Lions to be topside, but they send all the marbles to try to kill caps. Have to say, I don't think that Hilly was so sharp in this series. He just wasn't so sharp. You know I love Hilly, but I don't think Hilly was so sharp in this series. I expect more from Hilly. I think they could have crossed into top, and instead they are the ones to get the Herald play. They don't kill Annie, and then on the map split, they managed to kill Chasey. Nautilus and Phileas are collapsing. They're committing to the situation. BB is crashing a wave because he's just all in, of course, Sihasi. We get the dive on 1, we get the dive on 2. Very clean by G2. And of course the Annie TP as well. Very nice. It isn't the end of days, right? Because Jinx gets mid turret and Jace gets tier 2. But of course the 2 kills is a good cherry on top, right? And the lack of tempo on the bot wave is compensated by the fact that they've Herald. So, still not the end of days, right? The whole macro situation isn't the end of days. But this is the fight that I was talking about before, where the Yasuo wind wall is just popping off completely. Mickey drops incredibly low, but he kept his Nautilus ult. And now this is the moment where 3 G2 players win the whole fight together with the wind wall. So it's 3v5 plus wind wall and Yak doing Drake. Look at this. Here comes the Root Sandstorm. Q, Nautilus ult, knocks up 3 members. And the Annie Tibbers on top of that. Huge combo. Into simple GG. Hansama pushes forward, very strong there, Philios. And G2 take this lead and close out the game. Let's take a look at this fight too. What happened in this fight? I feel like we see this way too often from Europe. Why is this the EU special? This is just the EU special. Just not as walking bot. And then we're just crossing this area always. This is just the EU special. So look where Leona is, look what Jinx is. We are entering into this space. What on earth is this? It's a crazy inaccuracy. Crazy. Nar also, bro. Nar is here, okay? And he TP's here. What on earth is that? The fight is of course lost before Nar can even interact. This is just Satan's asshole that we call it on stream. I'm gonna get demonetized for that. And it's GG. The mini Nar flank angle. I didn't see it, I'm sorry. G2. Go on blue side. Mad Lions switch it up and they show the fact that they've prepared and practiced Keisante. Keisante Aphelios gets locked in and they showcase that they are ready to play Aphelios themselves too. Here, I thought G2 is going to drop the Jinx Nidalee, but I really like the Cassio. I said instantly, oh, this Cassio is going to go top. Broken Blade has been spamming it. I saw him play it in Champions Queue. I saw him play it, you know, all over the place. Braum gets locked in on 3 because they want to pick Braum into potential Nautilus. And they believe that Keisante is good into Nautilus. So they basically are going to create a circumstance where Braum gets, either he gets countered or they get value, right? So Braum gets picked and the enemy goes Lulu into Braum, which is of course is a very good matchup for Jinx Lulu into Braum. Unless, you know, Braum gets kind of a gank and they don't have sums and then Braum can play aggressive and Aphelios has good guns. You know, there's some opportunities from Braum, like from Braum's side too. Belveth. So enemy picks Elise on 4. And I think this is one of those spots where, you know, that fiddlesticks that people talk about, like a fiddlesticks or like a rumble jungle. This is a very nice spot for it, right? This is definitely one of those cases when it can get locked in. But Elise invites, of course, the Belveth, and they slam Lulu support, and they go Nautilus in the mid lane. I think maybe the Braum lock-in, they thought, oh, if we pick Keisante and show them that we play Keisante mid, maybe they're going to send Nautilus support. So we have to pick Braum, because Braum can get banned for 5. So they ban Jace, Nidalee, Thresh, Cannon, Elise. Gets picked on 4. Lulu into Braum, and then Belveth. And now Aurelia gets locked in. So a lot of discussion surrounding the Aurelia, right? I personally think that Aurelia has windows, together with Elise specifically, to make Cassiopeia completely useless in the game. If you don't use those windows, Aurelia is going to solo lose the game as well. Solo lose the game. So either Aurelia gets ahead and you have some chances, or Aurelia solo loses the game. And that's why I don't like Aurelia so much, because it's like you know, the two options that I just gave you guys, right? Either Aurelia gets fed and you have a little bit of a competitive game that is hard to execute with Aurelia, or you solo lose the game as Aurelia. So I'm not a big fan of this champ, obviously. But in isolation, I think Aurelia against Cassio does have opportunities to break the game. Right? So let's see how it played out. Game number 2. Aurelia, really, it's like, if you are a Korean top laner and you're playing in a minor region, then you should play Aurelia. Okay? Because you want to literally 1v9 the game. But here it's like things are a little bit more competitive, you know? As like BB is a crispy player. But let's look at the circumstance. So we have a situation here. BB, he loses Flash. He doesn't go W. It doesn't go Miasma. He loses Flash here. Broken Blade tries to crash the wave, and Chasey is too scared of enemy jungle. Right? I don't know. He's too scared of enemy jungle something. I don't know why he doesn't fucking Flash to fucking murder him. Because he could die here easily. Right? This is a moment where Breeby is trying to crash the wave. He has Tier and he's trying to find the crash. He doesn't have Miasma skill, 2 points E, and he's getting fucked for it. He doesn't really see where he flashed. True. That is a fair point, Hooligan Lol. I didn't even think about that. That's fair. That is a fair point. He could be flashing over the wall. He could be flashing into the bush. Good spotting, Hooligan Lol. You're the reason I read chat while I do these reviews. Thank you. Good point. So he keeps Flash against no Flash, and he keeps the freeze. He thins out the wave a little bit. He's going to match the base, and all is good. Chasey could also choose to just push in the next, because Aurelia is a little bit OP like that. She can throw all her spells on the wave and crash the wave on time. Right? This is the stupidity of Aurelia. She can just one-shot a wave and keep tempo. Right? Very similar to Yasuo, Yone, Set. These are champions that can just turbo a wave. Right? Big 2v2 here. Caps just wants to base against this matchup that is very hard. Niski channeling W on the Yag spell. Unstoppable. Caps refusing to flash because he is in the thought process and state of mind that, yo, if I flash and he cocoons me, I'm still dead and that's gonna suck donkey balls. Basically for this draft, right, playing Nautilus into Kisante, he is paying the price of picking the Nautilus so the Lulu can be picked. Sometimes there are surrenders that you do like that in draft. It's like if you keep a Nautilus flex and the enemy has Kisante and they play Kisante, you are then in a situation where you either have to send Nautilus into Braum or you send Nautilus into Kisante. Wherever you have the bigger counter, that is where you, like for example in this case, they have Lulu into Braum. That is where you gain, and then the Nautilus mid is going to lose. Right? It's just a choice. Because a very common response to flex champions is to pick champions on both roles that counter it and then let the enemy choose. But of course, flex pick still in that moment gives you a lot of flexibility. Yes. Yeah. Fantastic trade. Still, Niski didn't base TP back, so all is good. Elioyo completely snacks on the forehead of Yike here. Good read, good kill. This was one of those moments as well where you could potentially convert a lead on top because the wave is slow pushing towards Irelia. Like right now, Irelia is level 4, Cassio is level 5, she's slow pushing wave. Elioyo could, after this kill, could potentially convert a top lead as well. Broken Blade gets a good trade. I don't know what happened to Chasey here. He needed to stay healthy. And imagine if Elise went into here based in bush, you know, it would have been a disaster. Would have been a disaster. Yeesh. But instead, of course, Elise gets a solo kill on Yike, and then he converts that into sprinting straight top. Here they were scared of G2 diving. They're really on the stacked wave. Of course, I think probably Chasey can outplay it. They're just making sure that BB can crash the wave. I think probably they can't dive. I was thinking if they do basic attack of caps into Miasma, into Q, maybe they can dive, but I'm looking at this now and I think that if Chasey just channels W the moment they start tanking the turret, they're just gonna get double killed. So I said on stream that they can dive, but I'm looking at it now and I don't think they can dive. Elio still has flash. Broken Blade now, Aurelia should just keep the freeze, I think. She's hard pushes because they want to look to pressure dive on BB. Elise walks around to try to set up this dive that we were talking about. Broken Blade, pay attention to his experience, right? Broken Blade, basically you have two choices here. Either Elioya carries on with the game and Aurelia keeps the freeze, which I think is perfectly fine. Keep the freeze, get level 6. When the Cassio tries to walk into lane, just fucking solo kill her because you have flash advantage. I think that would have been a beautiful play because Elise doesn't need to invest time. But I get it here. They're like, yo, let's push and dive him. But Elioyo, the way he plays it... Oh man. This is not the place. This is not the place. This is a sacred place. Elioyo has to fish for Cocoon. Either you flash Cocoon to guarantee it, because it's very hard to predict that, or you fish for Cocoon and you stay out of fucking Cassio ult range. Choose. But Elioyo is just walking, man. He's just walking. What's happening here? Throw a Cocoon. Where were you going, son? It's not unfortunate level up. They should know he levels up. It's not unfortunate at all. This is very common time. He just straight up dies. It's terrible. If you get cocooned into E, into full burst of Elise and Irelia, you die. But I still think the better decision would be to just freeze. Freeze the wave with Irelia. You have full mana, full condition. Just enjoy your life. Casio comes to lane, she has to base. She has to base and come back to a lane where Irelia has flash and ult and the wave frozen. GG, and Elioya can get busy elsewhere. Would have been gorgeous. But instead we have this fucking shit show. Terrible. Terrible from Elioya. Terrible. Here I thought, Hans, G2, what the fuck are you doing? You're fighting against 4 of the strongest champs in the game at this point? Braum, Elise Navidad, Kekona, and Aphelios with Purple Gun. I thought they were crazy for fighting this. Crazy. Straight up crazy. When you have Jinx, Lulu, and what's her name? What the fuck is her name? Belveth. Crazy. Crazy. You have those good conditions on top. You saved Casio, she just killed Elise, and then you do this. Disaster. Disaster, I tell you guys. They tried to leverage the window when Elise was dead, but this was just not working. These are some of the strongest champions in the game in this type of fight. Healy wants to pressure dive. He's going with his red skin. He places a ward and Yike is spotted. Now already the fact that you've created a circumstance where Belveth is defending is really fucking good. And this is where Mad Lions show a bit of their strength. They are paying attention to champion value and position. They're like, fuck these people. They have no flashes. Dive them. Dive them. Murder them. And now if the Jinx died, they're like, yo, we can repeat this. Nautilus is still on mid. Let's fuck him up. Let's keep going. What are they doing here, man? They're in our house. We just took their house, made it our own. Kazi, I don't know why the fuck he goes melee here. Like he just fucking flashes. You know the play was already over. Take it easy, no problem. This was a massive swing. And obviously this looks like complete game over. As long as Irelia doesn't completely fucking lose the game alone on her own. Which, spoiler alert, is gonna fucking happen. So right now, how can Lulu breathe? How can Jinx breathe? They cannot breathe. Oxygen right now is very expensive for them. Kaysanta's in super good conditions. Nautilus is bleeding out of every limb. Belveth couldn't. Like, Belveth conditions are terrible too. Let's walk down this path and figure out how Mad Lions actually lost this. Casio TP top, so Casio can't participate in the game, well, even though she's monster fed. This is a Nautilus TP, they just walk out and they can cross into mid and enjoy life. Caps can't queue in here, obviously, because he would just get one shot. So they run away. And now G2 are now walking 4-man bot to try to crash this Herald that they got. Fun for them. They place the Herald. Kaysantae is gonna get just as many platings mid. Like, this is a complete disaster. It's like, this is some hopium right here. Like, they're sharing this. Like, they're sharing this fucking gold. Like they're sharing this gold with so many people. Like, it's like 88 gold. All this effort. 4 people showed up for 88 gold. Niski got fucking more platings on mid. It's a disaster. G2, of course, they're trying to just get anything they can. Try to get anything that they can. Right now in Casio's conditions, she's way stronger. Now it's the opposite. Chasey can't crash waves and everything comes at such great risk. And BB can just posture with his huge sack onto the mid wave. Here he just DPSs and Chasey is getting solo killed just because he was trying to crash a wave. They were posturing for a dive, but Broken Blade slammed his broken balls on the wave and made sure Irelia couldn't crash and just looked for the all-in. Very well played by Broken Blade. Why are you looking for this? Why are you looking for this, son? The enemy got platings mid, 2 platings mid for no reason at all. Well, 1, sorry. Jinx is farming bot. It's like so much breathing room over this botch dive. Not good. Not good. Look, Hansama's getting like, pushed in a wave. Ish. Crazy. Look at the items. Look at the item difference, by the way. This is Bami Cinder versus this humongous item. Yaksho, the protein bar. Gale Force versus Denada, which means no problem for, of course, Mad Lions. For the Spanish fans of Mad Lions. So BB delivers. And he defends the dive with bad numbers. Here G2, of course, they shouldn't even think about fighting. Maybe if they believe that Casio can carry. But it is looking mighty dangerous. They don't have Mythic on hands. They should just cross top and look to play for the top turret. Break the wave and take it easy. Mad Lions here. You know, I think that it's cool that G2 are like tethering here and spotting to make sure that Mad Lions commit more people to Nash to give time for Jinx to push top. In reality, I think here Mad Lions are completely over positioning for this. The enemy team can't fucking walk on you. Why are you 5 people hitting? Like, why are you all having this gathering here? Talking about yesterday's lunch. Why are you 5 people here? The enemy can't breathe. Just be here, be in this area here. Make sure that the enemy doesn't take mid prior. You don't need to commit 5 men to hit this Drake. Why are you hitting 5 men this Drake? The enemy can't walk on you. They can't. They can't. Imagine if you're in Fog of War and the enemy doesn't have vision here. It's like the fact that Mickey is allowed to ward this is kind of crazy, no? Well, actually, Mickey, he wards it, I guess, maybe before. I don't know what's happening. There's a replay. There's a replay and there's a ward there. I don't know what's happening. I don't know. In my mind, 3 Mad Lion players should be in river. They should sweep this. There's no ward. And then the enemy can't breathe. The enemy doesn't know if you're fucking diving bot or if you're fucking pressuring midwave. But instead, you know, there are 5 people hitting it. And these wards are really, really doing a lot of work. Because what does this lead to? G2 can now take the mid prio. They can hit the mid wave. They can catch bot. And they can push top. That's a really, really big swing for them. They get to breathe a lot. They get to breathe super, super much. Yeah, currently the weakest performing player on G2 is for sure Caps. BB is having a good time at MSI. A great time. Really, really good at MSI. He is the top father at MSI. And it's not like Caps is like super bad, but he is definitely the weakest performer on G2. And that can fluctuate. That can go back and forth. I like that Sad Irelia just writes, Irelia bad pick. Yeah. No, this meta, I don't think a single mid laner likes it, by the way. I don't think a single mid laner likes this. Because this is the meta of doing less. Mid lane meta is the meta of doing less. And Caps is so bored, look at him. This is a massive play too. Mad Lions, all they need to do is defend. But Chaser becomes the aggressor here. He is the aggressor. Why is Elioya here? Why are they looking for this? Why are they being the aggressors? K-Santa is enjoying a massive gain here on top. He's getting turret. All you need to do is defend the dive. But Braum, Hilly is disconnected. And this is the kind of gives you flashbacks of the weak Mad Lions. Where they're disconnected with Elise and the Braum. And they're not doing the same thing. And they're making too many plays at the same time. Because what's happening here on the map? Braum is chasing the Lulu and the Jinx. Burning sums. Okay? Fantastic. He's doing a play. Elise is fucking fighting on bot. And it's just a mess. And at the same time, Niski is collecting top. That's rough. Very rough. Just a massive swing. And now G2 should be thinking, yo, if we fight with Cassio, we can actually win. Because Cassio is one fed snake. Broken Blade is like, yo, I can base, I can go bot. You guys can just push this wave in. And I'm gonna go bot and take it easy, guys. BB's like, guys, I am very strong. Just fight around me. Push that wave. Base. No problem at all. It's gonna be a great game, guys. I can carry this one. I can carry this one. BB bases to defend bot. You don't want to give that for free to Aurelia. Of course you don't. Yeah. You know, at least, right? At least don't make it so fucking easy, right? Don't make it so damn easy. Because Mickey, you know, Mickey was maybe one of those children in my neighborhood that just knocked on random doors and said, hello, can I use your trampoline? Får jag hoppa på din studsmatta? Very common in Sweden. Because my man got backflipped. Why is Mickey like full melee, man? Look how bored Mickey is playing Lulu, by the way. My man is looking to squeeze a little 20 damage auto attack for no damn reason. It's just the most bored Lulu player on the planet. You know, at least if the enemy hard forces into you, Cassio can TP, maybe there's some room, but you made it so damn easy. Ay. So, we're back to square one. Replay into Lulu death again. I don't know how it happened, but it's a Mickey classic. Replay into death. Okay. Mad Lions are still in this game. I feel it's looking spicy. 5-0-5. They look to flip a little Nashor. Cassio still has TP because he chose not to TP to that shit fight that happened on the tier 2. Good for BB. Now BB's coming in here and Kisanta is very far away. And Caps just finds a play that makes all of the bullshit he did in the early game and the deaths that he had just irrelevant. Irrelevant. He uses a little plant and he ults 3 people. But let's take a step back and ask ourselves, why is Mad Lions doing this? So there's vision on Dash and they take this ward and Kesanta's on bot. They don't even let Kesanta walk into there. They don't even let Kesanta catch up to the situation. You can maybe push top wave, you can make sure that Jinx collapses all the way and then you can go. There's room and time. There's no rush. There's no rush. Kesanta is not a part of this fight. And then, of course, here, this is Michael Jordan. This is legit Michael Jordan right here. He just dunks on him. And this leads into a fat yike W, and then Cassio is going to take it home. And when I'm Kesanta here, and this is the fight that fucking was started, I am sad. Very sad. Bro, I just pushed the bot wave. You know, if you want to fucking do this shit, fucking make sure I don't push the bot wave. And now, of course, the game is over. Because you have an Irelia with these items. You know, she's completely, like, lost in space and time. And, yeah. Mad Lions threw this game many times. I think after this game, I don't think that Mad Lions no longer had belief that they could actually win. So how do you really play against this Cassio? Like, this Cassio is just a walking turret. You just can't fight. To be fair to Caps, right? It's like Caps died a lot this game, but it's like, it's a very hard game to play. Like, you're playing fucking Nautilus against Kesanta Elise. It's extremely hard not to die. And what is OP about Nautilus? Let me tell you what's OP about Nautilus. It's like, usually you have Nautiluses in game that are very impactful and they have no gold. So even in cases where you're behind, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. Your fucking abilities are still monster buttons. It doesn't fucking matter. Cassio was a juicer. Game number 3. G2 showing a lot of fucking spice and creativity here. I really, really like their 4-5. What a juicy, juicy Janna spot. What a juicy, juicy Janna spot. Holy Januni. Draven, Olaf, Maokai out. Enemy in first picks Nautilus. Mad Lions run back the exact same scenario. This time around they change up a ban to ban Belveth. Why did Mad not ban the Nautilus? Do you think Nautilus was a problem last game? I don't think it was. I think Mad Lion's decision making was. And their ways of converting. This time around, G2 banned Elise to just see what's more hiding behind the door. And this time around, Mad Lions went for the Wukong with an AP, just blind K'Sante and pick AP from 5. Here, Janna is picked. And why is Janna so fucking good here? Janna is fucking gorgeous because into Wukong, really good. Into K'Sante, really good. Into Braum, really good. Together with Jinx, perfectly playable. Good stuff. I liked it. Together with Kindred, nice combo. You have a lot of room. You're going to be able to peel the enemy off super, super well. Here, this time around, the enemy, when they pick Wukong, kind of reveal already that, unless you're willing to play fucking Syndra top or some shit, that Cassio's going into K'Sante. And that's very hard matchup for K'Sante. Very hard matchup for K'Sante. They're gonna always pick Cassio into K'Sante, and the curious thing will be what will teams find on 5 pick into Cassio top. I think Cassio top is not easy to counter. Honestly, I don't know what to pick into Cassio top. It's not super easy. Cassio is just incredibly strong on the patch, and I'm happy that it's being played top. Cassio is something that needs to be disrupted, like with jungle. Cannon? I think Cassio can win. I think Cassio wins against Cannon. GP is pretty good. No. Cassio wins. Kama top, now that's the first good suggestion in the chat. I think that can be fine. But at the same time, it's like you fuck up and you die. Zed, okay, let's play useful champs. Cassio against Jace is also perfectly playable. Good for Cassio. Cassio can play into everything, in my opinion. Rengar, okay, Rengar I can believe, Boop. Rengar I can believe. Victor top is a good shout. Honestly, can get very dangerous too. It's back and forth. Like if you can... Syndra's best answer? Not even. Current Syndra doesn't win. Doesn't win so easy against Cassio in my opinion. I think probably Victor is better than Syndra. Maybe. Why is Gwen not good on 5 here? I wouldn't mind playing a little bit of Cassio. Cassio into Gwen. It's hard to choose exactly with Gwen when you want to W. It's like... It's very... Yeah, you're definitely fine, but I think in the context where, like, I want to send K'Sante mid against Nautilus. But I think the key thing, right, is that if teams are not willing to pick, like, Rumble Jungle here on 4, or like Fiddle, or some other spicy shit to pick an AD on 5, can get hard. Pantheon's good into Cass. You just have to win the game level 1, 2, 3, I guess. Camille sounds really fucking hard, by the way. Like, if you're Camille and she puts miasma on the wall that you eat towards, like, you just get rooted and you get fucked. The thing is, Cassio is one of those champs that has angles. This is just a champion that has angles. We don't need to get stuck on the counters. Zazie not good? We are on 13.8, my friend. Kled could be fine. Honestly, Kled is also like, if you are a disgusting enough Kled, you can probably squeeze a little bit. It's like level 1, 2, 3. I remember I saw Jizuke play Casio into Kled, and he won super hard. But it was like, you need to like know crazy Kled shit. You flex Casio, that is the problem. Well, yes and no. It's like, sure, you can send Nautilus into some champs. But nevertheless, we move on. I like the Janna. And I like the Kindred too. So Nautilus died level 1. Just to keep you guys in the loop. Nautilus just died level 1. I don't know why Caps was staring in the wall here. Behind the corner. I completely disagree with Casio being very good top. It's very situational. It worked this time, but won't work in 90% of other matchups. So can you give reasons? I'll continue with the review and you can give reasons, okay? Yeah. Casio top is extremely dangerous. You fuck up once, you can solo lose the game. But it's like playing with... you're the one holding the gun, you know? In a lot of cases. So Casio needs to be ahead or at least even. If she's behind, she's dead weight. Well, you just described a lot of champions in the game. Right? It's just hard to play. It's just very hard to play. There's a lot of top laners that you can play, but are very hard to play. I think that the Rela game, the Casio could have for sure lost the game. Like she lost Flash 1v1, and then the wave was bouncing, and then Elise was in river, but the Rela lost all HP, and then they fucked up the dive. It's like, I don't know if you were here, Whip, when I was reviewing it, but even in a scenario where you don't look for this win trade dive, right? Like this complete win trade here. I see a scenario where Irelia freezes, keeps her mana because she's using all of her mana to push, and then BB can't do shit because his jungle just died here and Elise is gonna recall in the bush. And then Irelia, like... Wait, sorry. Elise will just leave, and then this Casio needs to make a decision. Base, Irelia is level 6, full mana, full HP. The moment BB comes, I'm gonna fucking R-flasher, one-shot her, and GG. Don't you get out if you see the 6? No, they can just throw a cocoon. Like, he can just throw a cocoon. Like, why is he going melee range? Fiora is very different, right? Because Cassiopeia actually, like, is very good in a lot of fucking situations in fights. It's like Cassio is really good into Braum, Kesante. I think with Sock Shoes they have lethal, no? Level 4 release. If they hit Cocoon. But also it's like Cassio can preemptively Miasma. And then it can get like wonky. It's like she Miasma on top of the cell as the fucking Cocoon is flying. Yeah. I think freezing is just so free because like Elise will have all the freedom then. She doesn't need to commit so much time there when like all of her camps are open, there's 3v3 on mid, there's like so much stuff to happen. So Caps was staring at the wall, he died level 1. Wait. What happened here? Oh, okay. Sorry. Wukong started on the red. Wukong started on the red. That's why. Kindred. Kindred is kind of homeless. Okay. Victor's played top a bunch, yes. It was season 8, but Victor got reworked. Back then his queue was a little bit unbalanced. Honestly, here I'm wondering if, can we just agree that GG is the best Western team in MSI? I don't think so. It's like Golden Guardians have good cohesion and like decent decision making sometimes, but individually they are by far the worst team in the top 8. Like mechanically they are really not it. I wonder here if they kind of, if Mad Lions waited, if they could bait something here. Karzi burned flash of one to kill, help kill the naughty. Remember correctly? Maybe I'm crazy. I am crazy. Am I crazy? No, he just burned flash 2v2. No, he burned flash 2v2. He burned flash 2v2. Yeah, he burned flash 2v2 with the fucking China tornado when the Jinx was bonking the shit out of him. I forgot that. Tornado did have aimbot, yeah, he was fucking smurfing it. Just standing at the wave. Why no one plays Akali? Because Akali just gets pushed in a lot of cases. Maybe in some cases you can pick Akali. I'm not entirely sure. It's just there's just so much more useful champions you can pick. GG, I guess. Nautilus mid. Sack away mid wave and just fucking flash over the wall. Enemies has no sums. Akali against Cassie top. That sounds fucking hard. Just 1-for-1s like that. Caps what a Giga Chad too, you know. He goes bot, double kills, and then TP stop. Doesn't give a fuck about mid. Ah, Healy. Healy. Tryndamere? Tryndamere to Cassie top? How does your E work? Can you cast your R? Can you cast your R, Tryndamere E? You just go double tenacity? Because unflinching is fucking broken on Tryndamere. I can see that. I don't think Garen can do much. Bro, look at these tornadoes, dude. How much Jana do you guys think Mickey practiced before this? He didn't play any, man. It's tornadoes. Does Teemo beat Cass in 1v1? Like maybe if Teemo like stands invis in the middle lane, like all ends with Ignite level 1. But if Cassio can base once and Cassio's level reaches level 4, I think it's complete GG for Teemo. Like Teemo needs to like level 1 all in. Like either win level 1 with Teemo or FF. Yeah, agreed. I like Cassie top. Alright, we've been talking for 2 hours and 20 minutes, guys. This is a complete mess. I think I should just fucking predict the rest of the games and enjoy. Here, I honestly, when I watched this live, I couldn't believe my eyes what G2 was doing. Why are you guys acting like Castop is the best champ in this patch? No, that's not what we're saying. We're just talking about the lane. Like, we're just talking about the lane. Cassia top has a lot of potential in lane, and that's it. No, Vladimir loses hard against Cassia. No, Vladimir, I think, like Cassia is counter to Vladimir. Bro, I'm looking at this situation, right? It's like Niski has TP. I don't know what G2, well, like what prompts G2 to want to murder them here. Like, I look at this situation and I'm mind blown. Like, how on earth is this a play, by the way? How is this a play? I'm in shock, man. It's like here Cassio is kind of OP because even though Jinx is on the wave, Mad Lions cannot break them, right? Well, it's like, I'm looking at this and it's like, they're just 5v5 diving, just like that. How confident are they? This is a 5v5 dive. I guess it's just saying, I'm so fucking strong with fighting no matter what. Because Casio is monster strong, right? Broken Blade is literally spitting on them. But it is... I did think this looks fucking crazy. Like this situation just looks crazy to me. I don't know if I'm crazy. I'm looking at this and I can't believe my eyes. Why don't they need to try to do something, no? Throw some buttons, use something. It's like Kazi just gets completely abandoned. They don't have no Braum ult, I guess, don't have Wukong ult. I don't know, maybe G2 is just the best team in the world. Or at least like leave. Like if you don't believe in this, leave. Like TP right now with Ari, right? And just fucking start fighting these. And if you lose, then just fucking go home and practice Cassiopeia. Just fucking go, man. What's happening here? Like TP here and just fight to the death. Just go on them, man. Mazao top would like fucking bleed out of his a-hole, by the way. Broken Blade did this is kind of hilarious. I was screaming TP in the crowd. You were in the crowd and you were screaming TP? That's fucking funny, dude. No, don't need River TP. Like, look how deep they are. They're in the deepest. So it is. They're so deep. Just fight. I don't know, just fucking fight, do something, because I'm going insane. I was like, what is this dive? It's a 5v5 dive. They're getting spit on. They're cornflakes, everything, man, everything. Yeah, we highlighted Wukong Noir, but they just are 3v5 in them. Crazy stuff. By the way, guys, there's no Champions Queue. I'm checking all the time. There's no Champions Queue game. Champions Queue is completely gone. How does Vayne do into Casio? Alright, and now at this point, okay, guys, we mentioned every champion that exists in the game. I like the Tryndamere angle that Bippo mentioned, but let's stop mentioning champs, okay? Because now we're just going down the list. Honestly, just buy a Vandal and aim for her head. No Kevlar. It's GG. Alright, guys. I am so tired at this point. You guys want my predictions for the best of fives? Cena versus Golden Guardians. I will spend more time talking about this because I think JDG is going to just beat Billy. Cena versus Golden Guardians. So it's basically, it's like the better individual players against the weaker individual players with... You know, I don't want us to only focus on the best of five that C9 lost, right? Because C9 showed that their macro is really bad. Like, their macro is really, really bad. Okay? But the thing is, Golden Guardians have good ideas, but their execution is so terrible that they can throw games. The key difference here for me between Golden Guardians, the finals that they played the last time and this time around that they face up, I think that Licorice and Huhi are playing a lot better. A lot better. And I think that is going to be the difference maker. I think that currently MNS is not having that good time on the current patch. And I think that he's struggling to find comfort. Because looking at what MNS played, right? It's like looking at this, right? MNS played a Galio game that looked very rough. He played a LB game. This was a good LB game, honestly. But like, this is gonna happen once in a million years, right? And the Silas spot here is just terrible. I think that MNS just doesn't know what he wants to play on the patch. Like, he doesn't want to play Lissandra. And looking at C9's bans, right? They're banning Ari, Nautilus, Annie. It's like, these are all champions that are really OP mid on the patch. And I think that Gori has a better read on the meta currently. I think that Huhi is having good form, and I think that's going to be very huge for them. I think Berserker is much better than Stixxay, but I think that in terms of Golden Guardians, when they pull the trigger, when they group together, when they are playing as 5, I think they have been sharper there, and I think that goes a long way. GG have an insane K'Sante flex advantage, but C9 play K'Sante 2 on 2 lanes, so I'm expecting K'Sante to be banned. Because as you can see, Billy, they banned K'Sante, they banned K'Sante, banned K'Sante, right? That is for a reason. And K'Sante is going to be a contested pick, but I don't think it's going to be something that goes through. So I'm leaning towards Golden Guardians, but I think it's going to be a close series, because I think mechanically, C9 are better. And I think that, you know, I don't know why I'm waving money. C9 is mechanically better in my opinion, but I think Golden Guardians have improved a lot. I think Licorice is performing better. I think that Huhi is performing better. And I think that in terms of team cohesion and decision making, Golden Guardians are just better right now. And I think that C9 dominated the region because they were individually better than everyone, but I think that they definitely picked up some bad habits along the way. And the question will be that if Golden Guardians just fuck up their execution and C9 have an easy game to play and they can mechanically express themselves, I could definitely see that. Maybe C9 just go into this series and say, yo, Berserker, you're the fucking CEO, okay? We're gonna pick a Philios, gonna pick a tank. MNS says, I'm gonna be your dog and I'm gonna bark for you. If C9 recognize this and they don't overcomplicate things and pick Poppy, Sion, Lissandra, and Berserker has Aphelios Lulu, I could see this happen. But I feel like there's some ego there. If they want to band-aid and have the best chances coming into this series, I think just make sure that Berserker has a good time. Because if I'm on this team, I'm going to say, yo, Berserker, like if I'm his teammate, Berserker, you're so fucking good. I'm going to fucking put my life on the line to make sure you have a smoother and better game. I'm going to roam for you. I'm going to die for you. I'm going to tank for you. I'm going to pick dogs for you. All attention to you. And then I think that they can actually beat them. But do I see C9 doing this? I'm not so sure. You saw 3 games from C9 and a ton from GG. Is this not skewed? I watched them the whole year. And of course, like, if Huhi and Licorice performed really fucking good the entire group stage and they have a lot of games and they perform even good against fucking JDG, then I'm gonna be able to say, yo, they are performing fucking good. Because how many games did they play? 2, 3 into 3. That's a lot of games of Huhi and Licorice performing good. So I'm leaning GG. But I can see the angle for C9 just dropping all of their ego and just, yeah, Berserker, take us to the next round where we're going to get destroyed anyway. But just take us to the next round, baby. Look how T1 is drafting. They're turning their boy into the CEO. This is what I want to see, okay? This is what I want to see from C9. Keisanta Aphelios, Lulu, Maokai Karma. Turn him into the CEO. I want to see this type of a draft. And then I can see C9 winning. Because Stixxay is going to, like, you know, Stixxay goes fishing. You know how Stixxay goes fishing? He attaches the line to his like fucking own arm, puts the line in the water, and then when a fucking big fish or a shark is attached to it, he gets just pulled into the water. You underestimate how hard Fudge has always dicked on Licorice? Bro, everyone dicked on Licorice. Everyone did. But that's like saying you underestimate how hard Zeus is dicking on Doran. It's just the times are different. And sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do to win. You think if Fudge is 30 CS head on Fiora, that's gonna matter? I don't care, man. Just Berserk is performing, put him on a pedestal. Put him on a goddamn pedestal. Licorice is playing better now, man. He is. And sure, I've only seen 3 games from C9, but those were some terrible ass games. By the time Keen was done with him, there was no hope left, little bros. I was there to reap the rewards. But okay. Billy versus JDG, I lean towards JDG. Right? I think that JDG, it's like Billy have tried to conform to the meta that JDG showed them in the finals, right? The domestic finals. The domestic finals. Let's just take a look at it, okay? These are the domestic finals JDG won. I think JDG individually are very strong. I think that Kanavi and Knight are just stronger than their counterparts. That's my take currently. We go down to the final. This was a series that was completely pushed in that direction of a bot-centric series where JDG just had pushing 2v2 mid, strong 2v2 mid, hover into bot, crash, dive. They just did this repetition over and over again. And Bilibili were trying to do this thing where Bin tried to out-muscle 369 by being more useful because he picked some kind of carry champ, and it just didn't work out, right? It just didn't work out. And what I'm trying to say here is that Bilibili played catch-up on what JDG have been practicing for super, super long. And I think that Elk is fantastic, Ona is really good. I think it's going to be fireworks around bot. I think it's going to be a little bit competitive. I think that Elk is one of the 80s with the biggest balls on the planet, which is a big plus. There's going to be fireworks around bot, but I have just higher faith in Kanavi and Knight. I think Bin versus 369, I lean towards Bin, but I think the fact that everything is so bot-centric and it's going to be in this matchup too, I think that it's going to be just JDG win. But, you know, Bilibili definitely have the individual firepower and the awareness of which fights to take and which fights not to take. So I think it's going to just be an exciting best of 5 with JDG being favored. And much more than that, I don't have to add. It's like we watched them play against each other twice. The first one was a lot more competitive, and Bilibili definitely had like game positions where they had advantages because sometimes Kanavi can also int, and sometimes, you know, there are some blunders even from bottom side. But I think JDG is just a little bit more refined on the gameplay that I'm expecting from a series between JDG and Bilibili. So that's my take. Okay, I've been talking for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Ooh, I'm dead, guys. I'm dead. And there's no Champions queue. Champions queue is just completely dead. Is there a win con for Bilibili? Nothing like out of the ordinary, right? It's like, I think when it comes to these two teams, I think it's just like gameplay is king. And I think that JDG just consistently find like a better level. Because I think that in terms of like the macro concepts and what to play for, I think that both of these teams are at a very, very high level. But I just think that sometimes in the transition phases that Bilibili can be more imprecise. And that's my take. If you watched all the way till the end of this video, which is 2 hours and 40 minutes, the longest one yet, I appreciate you and thank you very much.